Today's financial mystery is the case of the staggering student loans. This is Eileen St. Pierre, the Everyday Financial Planner. Dealing with your student loans can be overwhelming sometimes, but many people find that loan consolidation can really help them. Now, what happens in a loan consolidation is that your new lender is essentially going to issue you a new loan. The proceeds of that loan will pay off your old loans. So what you're left with is just one monthly payment to one servicer. Now, if some of your old loans were variable rate loans, this may be a way for you to switch to a fixed rate loan, which in the long run will produce basically a stable monthly payment, which makes it a lot easier to budget. First thing you need to do is determine if you have private or federal student loans, because it really, really matters. You need to be very careful when you do loan consolidation, because once you consolidate, you cannot reverse the process. So if you have federal student loans, which do have special benefits attached to them, if you consolidate with a private lender, you end up with a private loan. You will lose all those benefits. And if you have a private loan, then you cannot consolidate it into a federal loan. Now, to consolidate federal loans, what you want to do is go to the official government website, studentaid.ed.gov, and you want to follow the instructions for consolidating your loans into a direct loan. Only certain kinds of federal loans are eligible for loan consolidation. But this website will walk you through all the steps you need to go through to do that consolidation. Now, there are some benefits if you choose to consolidate your federal loans into one direct loan. There are income-based repayment plans available to you if you qualify. And at the end of that payment period, if you do have a loan balance left, your balance may be forgiven. But you also have access to other kinds of loan forgiveness programs if you qualify, and I'm going to talk about those in a minute. If you have trouble paying your loan, you may be able to get a deferment or enter into forbearance, which basically will temporarily halt repayment on the loan. Your credit history does not matter. They're not going to check your credit score in deciding whether or not to consolidate your loan. If you do pass away before you finish paying off the loan balance will be discharged. Your heirs will not be responsible for it. Now, there are some cons to this kind of loan consolidation. Now, many of these plans will allow you to stretch your payments out up to 30 years. Now, many people may find that as a benefit because it's a lower payment, but you will end up paying a lot more in interest because of that. The interest rate on this loan is going to be a weighted average of the individual loan's interest rates. Now, some of them may actually end up have been lower than what you end up paying on this consolidated loan. And if some of those loans were subsidized student loans, which means the government was paying some of that interest, then you're going to lose that benefit when you consolidate. Now, if you work full-time, which means at least 30 hours a week in the public service sector or for a nonprofit, and you make over a 10-year period 120 on-time student loan payments, your loan may be eligible for forgiveness after that 10-year period. You need to be on certain payment plans. They're listed here. The revised pay-as-you-earn, income-based repayment, or income contingent repayment. And you need to get your employment certified. There's an actual form that you and your employer have to fill out. Then there's also an application you need to submit after that 10 years is up. For more information, you want to go to the official website, that's studentaid.ed.gov. I have the full link here, and they will walk you through the process and also have a list of what types of employers count towards this program. Now, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program actually started in 2007. So that means that last year was the first year that anyone could apply to get the balance of their loans forgiven. So if you did happen to apply but were denied because you're on the wrong repayment plan, this temporary expanded public service loan forgiveness program may be something you might be eligible for. Just recently, the Department of Education made available $350 million on a first-come, first-served basis. So if you made any kind of payment based on these 4 repayment plans, the graduated repayment plan, extended repayment plan, consolidated standard repayment plan, or the consolidated graduated repayment plan, then you may be eligible for this program. Now, I put the details in a blog post, which is available on my website, everydayfinancialplanner.com. Now, if you have multiple private student loans, then the only option you have is to do a private loan consolidation. Now, because of the volume of student loan debt out there, there's been a huge growth in the number of private lenders, and many of them have an online option. And I've listed a whole list of them here. I'm not really endorsing any, just wanted you to be aware of all the different kinds of lenders out there. Now, a private loan consolidation is essentially a refinancing. The lender is going to check your credit history. So if you do happen to have really good credit and a low debt-to-income ratio, you may get some pretty good terms. If you had a cosigner on some of your private loans, you may be able to release the cosigner if you consolidate. It kind of depends on the company, so you're going to want to ask that if it's important to you. If you happen to be a parent and have taken out a private loan but want to move that debt to your child's name, you can do that through a private loan consolidation. Now, there are some disadvantages, of course, to consolidating this way. It's going to be a lot harder if you're having trouble paying to get deferment or forbearance, because you're going to have to work with that private lender and they may not be willing to work with you. There's not going to be as many repayment options. There's no forgiveness programs. And if you do happen to pass away before the loan is paid off, then they are going to ask your estate to pay back that loan. This video has been brought to you by the Choctaw Asset Building Program. I hope you've been able to solve the case of the staggering student loans. Until our next financial mystery, this has been Eileen St. Pierre, the Everyday Financial Planner.